defendants deposited fake checks, and then the money was withdrawn before the bank noticed.
What the defendants are selling is a fast money lifestyle to attract, I'd say, younger folks who are looking to make a quick buck.
October 27th.
Yo, man, this is Rodriguez. Welcome back to my channel. All right, we're finna look at Bandman's Kevo's paperwork.
From a 3-year federal investigation into the world of cracking cards, a nickname given to a specific method of bank fraud. Suspects would deposit counterfeit checks into bank accounts belonging to third parties who willingly or unwillingly surrendered their debit cards and PINs. The suspects would then use ATMs to withdraw the advanced funds before banks were able to determine the authenticity of the checks. The suspects now had the money, usually giving a percentage to the third parties who would deny responsibility for any withdrawals or purchases. The third party would play the victim while the bank would suffer the monetary loss. The federal investigation would unravel a conspiracy of fraud committed from August of 2011 to September of 2013. Within the city of Chicago, a group of men who called themselves the Rack Boys would become the main targets of the investigation.
Shit, Rack Boys, affiliated niggas, man, that rich-ass cash crew. That's what that shit stands for if you niggas didn't know.
Those are purchases. The third party would play the victim while the bank would suffer the monetary loss. The federal investigation would unravel a conspiracy of fraud committed from August of 2011 to September of 2013. Within the city of Chicago, a group of men who called themselves the Rack Boys would become the main targets of the investigation.
Shit, Rack Boys, affiliated niggas, man, that rich-ass cash crew. That's what that shit stands for if you niggas didn't know. Rich-ass cash crew.
The Rack Boys would make themselves known through social media and YouTube, where they shared multiple videos displaying large amounts of cash, luxury vehicles, and expensive items. They'd make their affiliation known by wearing clothing with Rack Boys written on it and writing the group's names in their social media profiles. But pertaining to the federal investigation, 4 members of the Rack Boys were being observed through the surgical eyes of the FBI. They were identified as Kevin Ford, Cortez Stevens.
Look at Kevin's fat ass before he got that damn plastic surgery.
Stephen Garner, and Mikkel Smalley. Additionally, 2 of their girlfriends would find themselves guilty by not only association, but participation. Kevin Ford, a then 26-year-old African
Y'all know them women finna get involved. There's money involved.
American male with no known employment history, was living in a luxury condo in downtown Chicago and paying over $4,000 a month in rent. More commonly known as Bandman Kevo, his Facebook would indicate he worked as a rapper, and music videos posted to YouTube which Kevin Ford, a then 26-year-old African-American male with no known employment history, was living in a luxury condo in downtown Chicago and paying over $4,000 a month in rent. More commonly known as Bandman Kevo, his Facebook would indicate he worked as a rapper, and music videos posted to YouTube would show him displaying and rapping about cash, cars, and expensive clothes. In a YouTube video by the Rack Boys titled For the Money, Kevo can be seen wearing a Rack Boys shirt with Kevo written on the back. Investigators found Kevo to be using Facebook to recruit bank account holders with debit cards into the scheme. His pictures of luxurious items would be used as a sales
It's crazy. I ain't never heard one Kevo song.
pitch showing the success of the scam in an attempt to persuade. Private messages would be recovered showing Kevo, as well as his co-conspirators, all sending out the same recruiting messages, one of which stated, "Yo, you don't know me, but we can make some cash together. My brother works at Citibank and he puts money on my account, so I could do you a favor and have him put money on your account. If you want to make $1,900, all you have to do is open up a Citibank account and they will give you a temporary card. We will be able to do it the next day from the time you get the card. It's $100 to go open the account, but if you don't have the money, I'll loan it to you. If this is something you want to do, hit me back. I'll give you more details. You can do this every week, no bullshit. Hit me back ASAP. This is no spam. He can also put money on any bank account." With all four men sending the same or similar messages, Kevo was printing fraudulent checks to be deposited into the accounts in what was nicknamed making paper. Kevo's girlfriend, 21-year-old Mercedes Hatcher, was also the mother of his child. They lived together in Merrillville, Indiana, as well as Chicago, Illinois. Investigators would find Mercedes was not only sending messages through social media as she attempted to recruit bank account owners, but she'd be seen on surveillance video with Kevo purchasing money orders and by herself depositing fraudulent checks. When her and Kevo stayed in Indiana, they had a roommate by the name of Cortez Stevens. At 24 years old, Cortez lived in Indiana, and through Facebook could be seen wearing a shirt reading Team Racks on the back, referring to the Rack Boys. Much like Kevo, he'd flaunt expensive items including sneakers and an Audi. His Facebook would reveal recruiting messages while surveillance videos would show Cortez with Kevo depositing checks and purchasing money orders. Another man by the name of Steven Ghana, aka Lil Steve, who was 23 years old, was in jail at the time the criminal complaint was filed. He'd been arrested 4 months prior while traveling with his girlfriend Brittany Sims, who was also the mother of his child. Another member of the Rack Boys, Lil Steve could be seen with large amounts of cash coming out of his pockets, designer clothing, and would be featured in Rack Boys music videos. His girlfriend, 24-year-old Brittany, previously worked at a PLS check cash, and the couple would participate in social media recruitment, depositing fraudulent checks, and purchasing money orders, much of which was caught on surveillance. The last of the four identified Rack Boys was 21-year-old Mikkel Smalley. Mikkel would often live with Lil Steve and was very vocal about making money through social media with posts that read, "Christmas in 4 days. Inbox me if you're trying to make some fast money." Mikkel and Lil Steve could be seen in photos together, as well as Rack Boys videos, while like everyone else, Mikkel recruited and could be seen on surveillance video depositing checks and purchasing money orders. All in all, the group of six would commit over 200 acts of fraud, causing the banks to lose over $250,000, while the group of six successfully made off with $153,000 in just under 2 years. With the criminal complaint filed, the following day, October 28, 2014, no-knock arrest warrants went out for all six suspects, who were all taken into custody by U.S. Marshals except for Lil Steve, who was already in custody. A 12-count indictment would list conspiracy.
My homie told me that this is the only place where you are guaranteed to go down scamming. You know what y'all think?
To commit fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 7 counts of money laundering concealment. Bandman Kevo was now facing 5 of those counts, and only 5 months later, the first plea deal was made. Mikkel Smalley, the rapper now known as Mikko, can be seen in an interview with none other than Lil Steve by his side. Both men would do an interview with Chicago YouTuber 16 Shot 'em, accusing Bandman Kevo of being a federal informant. The only problem is they never thought 1090 Jake would look into the case. 31 minutes into the interview, 16 would ask if there was any statements brought up against Mikko. Mikko would admit there aren't any statements, but there was a cooperating witness. Mikko was referring to a section of the criminal complaint in which it states law enforcement obtained information on the card cracking operation from a cooperating witness who's been charged in the complaint. The witness cooperated in the hopes that his cooperation would be considered by the government and recommending a lower sentence. While the witness goes unnamed, one important detail that's listed is the witness has no prior criminal convictions. At the time of the criminal indictment, Bandman Kevo had no prior convictions. The witness would break down how to crack cards, giving the feds the exact methods being used, and the special agent would believe the information given was reliable. Mikko would also say in his paperwork, the witness stated they used to be a part of Rack Boys. Within the criminal complaint, while it named Bandman Kevo as a member of Rack Boys and a music video would show Kevo with the Rack Boys shirt on, the complaint does state that Kevo now associated with a different money team known as Band Clan. Mikko would claim this meant Kevo must be the witness, but the actual paper saying that the cooperating witness was no longer a member of the Rack Boys, I couldn't find. The only issue with what Mikko was saying is he overlooked one of the most important details. Bandman Kevo and the 5 others he was indicted with were all indicted out of the Northern District of Indiana Federal Court. The day after they were indicted, the Northern District of Illinois announced 29 people are facing state and federal charges for cracking cards. 16 of those people face federal charges in Chicago, 7 face state charges in Chicago, and 6 face federal charges in Indiana. The cooperating witness was charged in the criminal complaint out of the Northern District of Illinois, therefore eliminating Bandman Kevo or any of the others indicted in Indiana as being the cooperating witness. But that doesn't mean no one else cooperated. 37 minutes and 17 seconds into the 16 shot him interview, 16 says he heard Kevo took a 5K1 deal. Miko would explain it as you, your lawyer, and the prosecutor sit in the room. The prosecutor asks you what you know about the case, and if you can give up substantial
I ain't gonna lie, nigga, it's kind of
evidence to be used against your co-defendants to force them into plea deals, you'll receive a lesser sentence. But this is the part you've all been waiting for, when a rat finally gets exposed.
Thank you. I was getting bored, man.
5 months after Bandman Kevo was indicted, Miko would take a plea deal, making him the first out of 6 defendants to take a deal. He would plead to conspiring to commit bank fraud, and on page 4 of his plea deal, would agree to cooperate fully.
Shit, I don't give a fuck about getting caught. I know shit, you know what I'm saying?
Truthfully and candidly with the United States government, including discussing all knowledge of criminal.
That's the difference between me and you, nigga. You got it, man. I ain't shit. If I get caught, I get caught. Fuck you, nigga. Other niggas be so scared to get caught.
Activities and testifying before any grand jury, hearing, trial, or proceeding. In exchange, the prosecutor will advise the courts of the value of his cooperation and would dismiss count 4 of the indictment. Within Miko's sentencing memorandum, on page 3 it states Miko was the first to plea out, and his plea includes a cooperation clause. It also states a month after he pled out, Brittany, Lil Steve's girlfriend, pled out. And a month after that, Lil Steve pled out. On page 8, it states because of Miko's cooperation, he expects the government will be filing a 5K1 motion to reduce his sentence, and that his plea led the other 2 defendants to pleading out. So what Miko accused Bandman Kevo of doing is exactly what Miko did. Fully cooperated and expected a lesser sentence in return. But if that paperwork isn't clear enough for you, within Miko's government sentencing memorandum, on page 3 it states downward adjustment for cooperation. The government acknowledges that the defendant made a proffer to the government and that he was by all accounts truthful. A proffer is a written contract between a...
Man, them crackers be trying to get us to kill each other, nigga. They say, yo, he snitched. Why they like that, nigga? Fuck the police. They trying to get that nigga killed.
federal proffer.
It's no, man. They hyping it up.
Prosecutor and the defendant or someone under a criminal investigation. Put simply, the defendant will agree to give the prosecutor helpful information. In exchange, their statements won't be used against them later in a criminal proceeding. Additionally, the government would note that the defendant was the first co-conspirator to acknowledge his guilt and tender a...
So he snitched. Apparently he fucking snitched. I don't know about y'all. Y'all want to keep watching the video? Y'all can. But shit, I'm going to end it right here, man. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment your favorite part of the video. Tap that notification bell, turn your notifications on, man. Comment your favorite part, like I said twice, man. You know, stay tuned, man. We got big things coming up on this channel. If you want to donate my channel, CashApp going to be down below in the link in the description. So if you want to follow my IG, my Instagram, it's going to be down below in the links in the description, all right? Like I said, man, see you guys on the next episode. You know, of the day in the life of a upcoming rapper. We snitch. He snitched, my boy. Matter of fact, y'all can finish it. Watch it right here. Go ahead.
Guilty plea. Defendant has consistently indicated a willingness to testify against his co-defendants. The government believes the defendant's cooperation was instrumental in getting other co-conspirators to cooperate with the government and enter guilty pleas. Miko, the main one accusing Bandman Kevo of being an informant, is a certified federal rat. Brittany's paperwork would state she pled guilty without any form of cooperation other than admitting her role in what took place. Her boyfriend, Lil Steve, will be next to plea out.
Somebody fucking dry my clothes. Appreciate that. That's my dad, though.
Brittany cooperate and testify the same as Miko did. In exchange for his guilty plea and cooperation, the government agreed to dismiss counts 2, 4, 9, and 10 of the
Y'all can hear it, right? Let me turn it for
Page
y'all.
4 of Lil Steve's government sentencing memorandum, it states he made a proffer, and based on his cooperation, the government supports a reduced sentencing and 5K1. So both Miko and Lil Steve sat in front of 16 shot him, accusing Bandman Kevo of snitching for a deal when both of them cooperated for the same damn deal. So far, Lil Steve's girlfriend is the only one that kept it gangster. But this isn't all. Lil Steve, or Steven,
Yeah, you barely hear a bitch keeping it gangster, nigga. I feel like if a bitch keep it gangster, it's cause that money, man. Cause you barely hear that a bitch keeping it gangster, my boy. Like that shit's kind of rare nowadays. So she's keeping it real. I'm sorry, I think. It's cause that money's a motivator, man. All right. Take a picture of that, though. Alright, let's get back to the motherfucking video, y'all. Y'all here, man. Kevo out here snitching and shit. Out here. Man, I don't like Kevo. Why? Everybody want to act like they come from the street. Everybody want to act like they selling drugs, you feel me? Everybody want to act like that all the time. They out here just scamming, faking like they like it. And then on top of that, there's people that don't even like you because basically you scared of hard work, right? Get your hands dirty. And you kind of proving that, Kevo, by fucking getting plastic surgery. Plastic surgery. Who the fuck is fake abs? Who the fuck is fake muscles? Females, right? Nigga, or lazy motherfuckers, nigga. So how the fuck you gonna like a nigga like that? That's lazy as hell, scared of fucking work, wanna act like he put in there work. Know what I'm saying? And then he gonna do some female shit like put in plastic surgery because he's scared of hard work. It's kind of like a lazy motherfucker. Nobody like that. Nigga, fuck that nigga, man. Trying to be the real motherfucking deal. It's hard to be the real motherfucking deal, man. That ass. All right, let's keep looking into the video, though.
would also go as far as writing a letter to the judge. Your Honor, I am writing you this letter because it's important to me that you know who I really am and where I have come from in my life. But more important, I want you to know where I am headed with my life. Your Honor, I grew up a blessed child, raised in a home with both parents, mother and father, whom instilled in me on how to be a law-abiding citizen, as well as an honorable and respectable young man. In my childhood...
That could be cap because I live with my fucking parents and it seems like they motivate me to do crimes. That they're more like selfish, like, hey man, get it your own way, we're gonna keep it quiet, you just get it your own way. So just because you got two parents don't mean shit, really. Dude, all right.
My mom was a paralegal and my dad was a Cook County sheriff. And even then until now, with my dad being my role model, I once had a dream of following in my father's footsteps and becoming an officer.
Oh, wow.
Growing up and hearing my parents conversing about all the bad things happening in the world,
Y'all hearing this shit?
my heart was set out to be a part of making changes and also a part of saving lives. And if y'all want to read the rest of that sappy shit, y'all can just go back, pause it, and keep on reading. With Miko and Lil Steve cooperating, Brittany, Mercedes, and Cortez would plead out without cooperating, other than admitting to their own roles, which essentially is the definition of pleading guilty. But what about Bandman Kevo? According to Kevo's plea deal, he pled guilty to 1 count of conspiring to commit bank fraud, and in exchange for his plea, the government would drop counts 3, 6, 7, and 12. As part of Kevo and Cortez's plea deals, they'd also agree to pay $141,919.
Let me go back to that, though.
How it was set out to be a part of making changes and also a part of saving lives. And if y'all want to read the rest of that sappy shit, y'all can just go back, pause it, and keep on reading. With Miko and Lil Steve cooperating, Brittany, Mercedes, and Cortez would plea out without cooperating, other than admitting to their own roles, which essentially is the definition of pleading guilty. But what about Bandman Kevo? According to Kevo's plea deal, he pled guilty to one count of conspiring to commit bank fraud, and in exchange for his plea, the government would drop counts 3, 6, 7, and 12. As part of Kevo and Cortez's plea deals, they'd also agree to pay $141,919 in restitution.
I'm gonna bring the scale next time.
Maserati and Audi that were purchased with funds illegally obtained. Now with Kevo's government sentencing memorandum,
he said he only rolled up 2. I gave him 2 G's, and he said he only rolled 2 blunts at 0.5.
Although those two were able to have sentence deductions granted for cooperation, the government would state Kevo was undeserving of any leniency for continuing to use social media on pre-trial release when instructed not to, showing up to a court hearing 1 hour late, and having to check cash and...
That's crazy. I getting the whole thing. So I'm gonna have to bring the scale next time. Alright, I'm gonna bring the scale next time so you can see it, okay? Alright. So that's some bullshit. They only rolled 2 fucking blunts. They basically say I only give you a G and 1 when you ask for a 2.5. So I'm gonna bring the scale, alright? That's some bullshit, bro. Fuck. So I'm gonna have to bring the damn scale, cause you tell I'm finna get him some motherfucking weed. You got me fucked up, my boy. He said, you think I gave him 2 G's and 0.5? He said he only rolled 2 blunts. That's basically saying I only gave him a G and a 5. Hell no, I ain't finna give him no motherfucking weed, boy. I'm just gonna bring out my scale next time. Alright, let's keep finishing this video, man. But yeah, y'all heard it here, man. Kevo's a snitch, man.
Employees sent them screenshots of money orders. Had Kevo been cooperating, these would have easily voided any deals set in place for a reduced sentence. And speaking of sentencing, Bandman Kevo would receive a 33-month federal prison sentence, while cooperator Miko would be sentenced to 21 months, and cooperator Steve to 24 months. So the paperwork in the case would disprove the entire 16-shot interview where Miko and Steve lied throughout. But that interview would also cause a social media war between Bandman Kevo and 16-shot. Kevo would accuse 16 of being a fraud who lets people pay for interviews to bash rappers for clout. 16 would reply, taking a stance in which he believed it was unbiased journalism. But if Kevo didn't like the context, why doesn't Kevo show his paperwork proving he isn't a rat? Kevo, on the other hand, believed that 16 was truly a journalist. Why would he allow an interview without doing his own homework on the paperwork? Because if 16 had looked into the case, he'd see the only rats in the case were the ones he interviewed. Things would heat up when 16's Instagram was deleted, allegedly by Kevo, and less than a week later the two would go live on YouTube to speak on their differences. But behind the scenes, 16 was contacted by...
That nigga 16 Sean, that interview nigga, he be acting like a rapper. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Bandman Kevo's wife, Dime, who Kevo was separated from. She would reach out to 16 to warn him on the type of person she feels Kevo is. While 16 and Kevo would drop their issue, 16 would continue speaking to Dime and eventually find himself in a sexual relationship with her. Dime would end up asking 16 to be in a vlog in which he voiced it could cause unnecessary issues. And according to 16, she said Kevo doesn't care what she does or who she talks to. A video titled Meeting My Secret Crush in Person will be posted to YouTube, and the war was back active. Accusations would hit the internet accusing Bandman Kevo of getting a BBL. Pictures would be posted by 16 of Kevo getting surgery, and 16 would land himself an interview at No Jumper in which pathetic Flacco would call me, 1090 Jake, a clout chaser, before 16 spit in his face. Now Kevo would publicize a rumor that 16 was a
He also said that he's a fake blood, so if you a fake blood...
pedophile after a sex charge was found in 16's criminal history. An arrest report dating back to 2013 would show 16 shot him, whose real name is Raheem McCaskill, was arrested at 18 years old and charged with criminal sexual abuse. Because of an underage victim, much of the summary report has been blacked out. Something happened on 4 to 5 different occasions 3 months apart. Both 16 and the victim apparently went to the same school, and consensual acts took place at an after-school program. The alleged story is 16 was a senior having sex with a freshman, and apparently this took place in an area of the school with surveillance cameras. 16's side of the story was she had a crush on him and was stealing electronics from her home to give to him so he would let her claim him as her boyfriend. Her mother would notice her laptop was missing, confronting her daughter, who in return lied on 16, saying they were having sex. 16 would be charged with only a misdemeanor offense, and the case would eventually be dropped. 16's only felony conviction would be for a
16, I think you lying. 16, I think you did clap, but hey, you never know. There's crazy bitches out there, but I think you clap, my boy.
robbery with a paintball gun that would end with him being sentenced to probation with the removal of the
Robbery with a paintball gun, that's some goofy ass shit.
16's only felony conviction would be for a robbery with a paintball gun that would end with him being sentenced to probation with the removal of the felony off his record after completion.
That's a paintball gun? These niggas out here acting like they got that real thing all the time. It's a paintball gun. Y'all niggas finessing.
So no, 16 shot him is not a convicted sex offender, and at no time did he plea out to a lesser offense as the entire case was dismissed. And no, Bandman Kevo was not a snitch, as his paperwork clearly states he only took responsibility for his own actions. In fact, one of the documents Bandman Kevo provided me with
Bandman Kevo out here trying to like 50 Cent with them fake ass employees.
was his pre-sentence investigative report. This document is sealed on the Federal PESA website because of the amount of private information it contains, including Kevo's social security number, FBI number,
You told the surgery. That's how I want to look like. You pointed at a picture of 50 Cent.
and entire criminal history. It would state that in 2012, at the age of 24, Bandman Kevo was arrested in Chicago for first-degree murder. But Kevo would be released without being charged. It would state that in 2012, at the age of 24, Bandman Kevo was arrested in Chicago for first-degree murder. But Kevo would be released without being charged. This means legally, Kevo was not a killer. As 16's paperwork means legally, he is not a sex offender. And while things between both of them may have gone too far and become too personal for them to reconcile, this video puts all the rumors to rest. Now, this was a shitload to cover, which is why it took me so much time to cover everything. And the thing about it is, I met up with Kevo, I got to meet him, I got to get an idea on the type of person he is, and he provided me with a shitload of paperwork. To the point that some of the things in his paperwork, I personally wouldn't have gave out, like the social security number. I mean, there was even like tax shit that was left in there that I'm sure he didn't mean to leave. But what that told me is he didn't care and he didn't have anything to hide. All of the sealed documents in his case that are online, I have them in person. All the other documents that are on...
Hold on. So he's not a snitch? Whole time he was saying somebody else's name. I'm thinking he's saying Kevo's real name. So he's not a snitch?
Online match what he gave me, meaning he didn't give me any fake bullshit. But the number one important thing for me is not telling me about your case, not giving me paperwork, but telling me where I can get the paperwork. Because if I can access it myself, I can stamp it as the truth. And in this case, I can stamp that Bandman Kevo is not a snitch. And at the same time, I can stamp that 16 shot him is not a sex offender, a pedophile, or any of the crazy accusations that were sent his way. But as far as the two that 16 did an interview with, I don't know why they would do an interview and accuse Kevo of literally doing what they did. And they're sitting there laughing about it like, yeah, he got a 5K one deal. Yeah, he was going to tell and do this. But there's literally papers that I can put out, that I can tell y'all how to get, that literally says they were snitching, cooperating, and willing to testify. I mean, Steve wanted to be a police officer. And maybe he was just saying that to try to finesse something with the judge, but it makes it look that much worse when the rest of your paperwork says you were cooperating. Now, like I said, I would have liked this video to be the end all of the beef between Bandman, Kevo, and 16 Shot him, but it seems that things have become too personal for that to happen. But at least this video kills all the rumors and puts the rumors to rest. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with Charlie. Y'all rocking with me. Until next time.
Yo, I'm so glad I didn't end this fucking video. So apparently, Bandman Cat was not a fucking snitch. The whole time they were saying those people's real name. I'm thinking they were saying Kevo's real name. My fault, yo. So Kevo ain't no snitch, but he's still a lazy piece of shit. Yo, that's crazy. Alright, man, I'm finna end it here. Like I said, man, see you guys on the next episode of In the Day in the Life of a Upcoming Rapper Squad.